Are you sick of a coiled mess whenever you try and untangle your wires? Are you annoyed by the slow process of setting up, or especially tearing down, your long wire antenna? I know I am, and that's why I partnered with Reliance Antennas to create this. This is the SignalSpool by Big Time Radio. You can tune it to any length, and its setup is easy and quick. And today we're going to show how it works and why I think it rocks. Now, if you're not familiar with how the SignalSpool works, basically you've got this winder right here that has a whole spool of wire, and then you've got your transformer here with a clip-on. If you were to do that type of wire, for example, or any other traditional kind of wire where it's insulated and you wound it up on here, that would act really funky on the radio because there would be this big coil of wire, and that's going to mess with your impedance a lot. It's going to mess with your performance because a lot of it's going to be absorbed and transmitted right here, kind of like a magnetic loop or a magnetic coil. So what this is, if I unspool some here, it's a special wire. It is copper, but it is tin plated. So it's weather resistant and won't stretch. That's the idea there. So when it spools up in there, it actually shorts out and it's just a little chunk of metal. And that's the same as if you had a little extra loop on there or something like that. It really makes no difference to the performance of the antenna. But what that means is you can literally spool this out to whatever length you want. Anywhere within that length that it has, you can do anywhere from 1 foot to that whole length of the antenna. And because of that, there's only one size because it does all of it. And it's really easy to just spool out. It's worth noting, this is a production unit. This is a demo. So this connector on the end would actually be a smaller heat shrink one. That's a bit nicer quality. But you can connect this end to a transformer if you'd like as well. So that gives you more flexibility. But by default, what you do is you'll let however much out you want, and then you push this, and this is why it's important that this is metal. You push this into here to keep it from going any further, and then you clip this clip right onto the metal right there. See how that goes on? And then that's now the antenna. Starts from here, goes all the way out. I'm sure there's a little bit of the antenna right there, but it's not like it's all of this wire. It's just like it's one little bit of extra metal there. And I used a fairly thick strand of wire for this type because 2 reasons. One, it gives you a bit more bandwidth. The thicker your wire is, the more bandwidth you have within one of its nulls, the wider that kind of dip of SWR is going to be, which means it's easier to use across the whole band of whatever you're tuned to. And it's a bit better for listening on other bands. It's also good because it's not insulated. That means that it takes up less room, so it's still able to fit through this hole, still able to wind up on there. Another benefit of it being non-insulated there. So I don't know if you know this, but when you are making an antenna and you are tuning it to a particular length, you can go to another location and it might be totally different. There might be some building or tree nearby that changes the impedance. You might have to have it at more of a slope, less of a slope. Maybe you don't have much room. You got to go up and then down or over to the side or an inverted V. Anything like that, that's going to change what length you need your antenna to be. That's why you sometimes have to tune an antenna when you buy it from the factory, because they're tuning it for their environment. Your environment might be different. Where the SignalSpool shines is that you can adjust it to whatever length you need. Now, the first time you're setting this up, there are no markers on here to indicate approximate band lengths, unless you pay extra for that. But what you can do is with a tiny SA, which are available cheaply on Amazon. I got a video on that as well if you want to learn how to use one of those, or even just with your SWR meter built into your radio, or an antenna expert, any of those types of antenna testers. What you can do is you can find what length works well for you, and then you can mark that with a Sharpie or a little bit of nail polish. Your wife can help out with that, and there you go. That's marked for you, so you know approximately where it's going to be. Like I said, in every environment it might be different, and then you just clip it on there. And then as we're tuning it, and you'll see this in a moment, say it's a bit too long, all you got to do is just pull some up and then clip right onto there, and you're good to go. And again, you can mark approximate lengths so that it's ready to go with your areas that you normally go to. Hook up our cable. And looking at the nano VNA here, looks like that blue one up there. We're going to get that and get the yellow one on the screen too. There we go. We're down to about 14,260 is our lowest point at 1.03. At the beginning of the band, we're at 1.3. That's good enough, but because I can adjust this really precisely, I'm just going to give it one more turn out, make it a tiny bit longer so that it's going to be a perfect match across the whole band. So let's just do that. That should do right about there. And just like that, we're tuned perfectly for that band. We're less than 1.2 across the whole band. We'll take our run of LMR 195 here, hook it right into the back. All right, so it turns out that the 20 meter band is kind of dead today. So we're going to use the 40 meter band, which I'm already getting good reception on. But what you might know about end-fed half waves is that while they're really close to resonant on multiple bands, usually some of those bands will be a little bit off. And in this case, we can see that. So I could totally use my radio's built-in SWR meter function, and it can do a little, antenna analyzer mode. But I find the Nano VNA is just a breeze to use. So if we look down at the 40 meter band, you can see we're tuned down to about 6.9 megahertz. This needs to be screwed in a bit tighter. Where we need to be around here. It's still usable. It's below 3. It's just basically below 2 across the whole band. But what we want to do is make it a little bit electrically shorter. That's the beauty of the SignalSpool, is that you can adjust it to just work on whatever you need it to work on. Whatever environment you need it to work in, anytime. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a little bit more slack right here so that I can pull some back. And you could totally do this from the other end too. You could give some slack on the other end and then pull it back here. And that would also work pretty much just as well. Benefit here is that by letting slack out over here, I am making the antenna higher instead of closer to the ground, right? All right, with some twists there, we're now, look at that, 7.29, 7.12. So we actually want it a little bit longer than that, a couple turns longer. And that's how quick it is to tune this without damaging or cutting your antenna or anything. Hello! Hi. No, you're good. Hello, puppy. He's on camera if that's okay. Oh, yeah. So we've got it now. Perfect, right where we want it to be. Now, another area where these traditional wire antennas fail is in scenarios like this. Let's say I have my area right here where I'm operating. This is the only tree I'm allowed to attach things to. I don't have enough room for a whole, 40 meter, 20 meter antenna. I only have this much room. But with the SignalSpool, you can make it work with whatever length you have. Now, you're not going to get all the bands, right? You're only going to be able to get, say you only have, 10 meters of length, you're only going to get 20 meters and 10 meters. Or if you've only got 5 meters of length, you're only going to get the 10 meter band. But you can do that. You can even go down to 6 meters. You only need 3 meters of length to actually do 6 meters, because an end-fed half wave means it's going to be half the wavelength, right? So what we could do is literally just attach it right here, pull it out over to this tree over here. And if I've pre-marked areas that I know work well, then I can let's just clip it on to right here as an example. This would be a terrible antenna setup. You'd want it to be higher up, but just as a demo. Let's say I've got, right here is my 6 meter mark. So I know I can do 6 meters if I wind it up to this point. And then right over here is my 10 meters mark, where I know that I can do 10 meters as well. So that's one extra strength that the SignalSpool has, is that you can adjust it to whatever length you need, all the one antenna that fits in your bag without having to deeply modify things, cut wires, whatever it is. Because all that extra wire in there is shorted together, it becomes a little chunk of metal at the end of your antenna, and it's not going to change your performance nearly at all. Let's wind it back up. I love how quick that is. That's awesome. But I'm the type of person where you can talk the talk, but you got to be able to walk the walk, right? Let's try these both out. We're going to try this in an end-fed half-wave scenario. We're going to try this pre-cut end-fed half-wave antenna and see how long it takes on the setup and the teardown to see how much of a time difference there really is. So we got a piece of 550 paracord right here that goes up to the tree, and it has a pull point right there. So we're going to attach this same point to the end of our 2 antenna types, and we are going to see how long it takes to set it up, and then we're also going to take a look at teardown as well. So first we're going to do our traditional 3D printed spooled up antenna. Now this particular one is cool because it has the transformer built right into the actual piece itself, all combined into one cute little package here. I'm going to start the timer right when I start pulling up the wire. That's my plan. So that way that they're both fair comparisons. Let's start the timer right about now. So as I'm pulling this up, it's unspooling itself. I got to be careful though, because it's heavy and big. I don't want it bouncing around and bouncing on things. All right. I just want to pull this up to start where it is. Ooh, it's getting tangled up in the pull wire. Hold on. There we go. To where it is at the top. Right. It is still unwinding. I don't even know if you can see this on camera here. Almost at the top here. All right. stop right here. Now I'm going to tie this off real quick. Try and be as consistent as I can be and as quick as I can be to give this a good shot. I'm expecting that the setup time won't be that much longer for this. It's really the cleanup time that's going to take longer on this type of antenna versus the signal spool. So now we're just going to unwind this. We can kind of use gravity to assist us and just keep on pulling it. It's bouncing around a good bit, but it doesn't seem too bad. Still going. All right. And then we've also got, this particular one is designed so that it's got a bit of a counterpoise. So let's make sure we're unwinding this properly. Ooh. It is tangled up. Hold on one moment. One moment, please. There we go. That's kind of par with the course with these when you're winding it up by hand like this. It's kind of impossible to do it perfectly. Let's keep on unwinding it. All right. So the way this one works is it has this piece that comes out and holds the counterpoise off a bit and then lets it dangle down. Let's keep on pulling this back. We're lucky here, this is the perfect length for it to work out well and be tight, which is good, and not always the case, because these antennas are pre-cut to length, and if you don't have room for it, you don't have room for it. So when you've got two pieces of wire, as opposed to like a loop and a piece of wire, what you can do is wrap it around one side, do kind of your standard, everyone knows the simple, just pull it through itself knot, right? We're just going to pull it through this hole here. Super simple, super easy knot. But of course, this is just going to slide right off, right? So what we do now is make sure it's pulled tight. We do the same thing with the other wire right here. We're going to pull it through and through its hole that we're making with the loop. There we go. Now, it kind of turns into these two separate knots that tighten against each other and keep it from falling. And if you need to make it a little bit tighter, all you got to do is pull back some, like this, and then we're just going to pull the excess through the knot. That's looking pretty good as far as the antenna. We've got this set up. Not too bad for setup time. The fact that gravity helps with letting this guy unspool definitely makes it easier. Got a little bit caught up on itself right there. And we are ready to activate. Happens to be that we have enough room here to make it work, and we're good to go. So now that I've shown you how long it takes on a standard run-of-the-mill wire antenna where it's up on a spool like that, we're going to show how long it takes to set up a signal spool antenna. So the benefit of this is that once we flip this arm out, it's just going to pull right up, and it's going to go as fast as we need it to go. And it's going to unspool and spool up the correct way, doing it like a wheel, very efficiently, very quickly, every time. That's how it's going to spool up. It's how it's going to unspool as well. So let's go attach this to the antenna wire. We'll attach this to the paracord and string it up and see how long it takes in comparison. Right, there we go. It's a nice double knot on there. And now I'm just going to unclip the arm and let it fall down right to there. Perfect. And now I'm good to go to grab this and start pulling. And as I pull, I don't know if you can see it from there, that arm is just spinning, spinning, spinning. And I'm going to keep on pulling until I see it go up to the top. There is no resistance. It's not getting stuck on anything. I don't even look at it. I can just look up there and see how high up it's going. And that should be good right about there. It's up near the top. I'm just going to tie this down. All right. And now I can go over here, pick this up right where it's hitting, and literally just walk. I can walk slowly, I can walk quickly, and it's just going to spin with me. I'm going to stop it right around, my mount point's right here, but I want the wire to be taut, so I'm going to stop it right around here. Yeah, that looks good to me. I'm just going to pull the antenna right about here. Pull this guy back. We got this 550 cord, we're going to pull it nice and tight. You can kind of get a feel for it by pulling the wire, see just how much pressure is going on it. This thing's really strong. This arm is metal, and the inside is a very thick plastic as well. There's not much pressure that's going on one point, so that's beneficial to it as well. All right, we're going to clip onto here, and we are good to go. We can adjust this to get better tuning as needed. We might have some preset markers from past experience at different locations to know, hey, this works really good at this location. But that's how long it takes to set it up. Now that we've tested the setup for both the regular antenna and the signal spool, let's try out tearing it down and then, actually wrapping it up. Now for this test, again, I'm trying to be as fair as possible. So I am going to include letting it down to a certain point, but I'm not going to include like untying the knot over there, stuff like that. You're going to see the timer pause as I'm doing that, because I'm trying to be as fair as possible. We're only focused on the winding and unwinding part, not any other variables that can happen just because I didn't do a good job tying the knot or anything like that. All right, so let's start with this one. We're going to let down this end first, and let's untie this knot. All right, and we're letting it down. We're letting it down. What I'm going to do is just tie this to right here. I'm not going to include the tying as part of the timer. Super quick. I know that should be enough room. As long as we don't get tangled, it should be simple for pulling it down. Now be careful as you're pulling down the long wire antennas like this, because it's piling up right here. It's really easy to let it get knotted up and tangled. We don't want that. All right, I am stuck on something. Looks like I'm tied up on the pull wire on this branch right here. So let's just free this up and we can keep on pulling down. All right, so we've got this. We're just gonna pull that last bit of wire here. All right, and this shouldn't go anywhere if I let go of it. All right, untying this knot, pause for a moment. Okay, that's staying there. Pull this, and let's wind this one up. So first thing I gotta do on this guy, unlike the signal spool, is I got to untie this first and tie up this end. But again, not counting the timer for the knots. Okay, now let's tie up this side first. Okay, and now we can spool up this part. So when you're doing the main antenna wire, let's pause for a moment while I'm explaining this. There's two ways that you can do it. You can wrap it up like this. Each time you do a rotation like this wire is going to do a full rotation. Each time you wrap it, because of the physics of it, what that's going to do is that's going to cause kinks in the wire as we're going down. Now, if we're wrapping it up, it's not as big of a deal, but when you're unwrapping it, if you are either unwrapping it with gravity, like we did before, after doing it this way, that's going to not be unwound in the same way, so it's going to kink it up. Or if you are unwinding it this way after winding it up the correct way, that's also going to cause those kinks. So just be aware of that. We're going to do it once this fast way. Let me unwind it to where it was. And we're going to resume the timer there right about now. I'm going to do it the quick way, as quick as possible. Just keep on going. Right. Still going, still going. See the end here. And we are wound up. And it looks like part of my clip broke, but that's okay. All right, that is wound up. As you can see, it is wound up, ready for storage. But I mentioned that this is the kind of fast and not quite the correct way to wind it up. So let's unwind this again and wind it up one more time the right way. So the correct way to do it, we've already got our guy wound up here from the counterpoise, just like before. So we'll include the timer from that part. But the correct way is to do it like a wheel, just like this, where it's going to rotate it up, and there's no turns that are going to happen on the wire itself. It's just going to keep on rolling up and going onto this spool here. So let's unwind it here. We're going to do that quickly and see how long that takes. Put my foot underneath the wire. That's going to help me have tension on here, which makes it a lot quicker to rotate it and spin it. We'll start the timer right now. Just started to unspool. Hold on. Make sure that's covered. Okay. Attacked by bugs.
It's not part of it. It's not part of the process. And it's going. Say I'm getting about, come on, man. I'm getting about 2 inches each, and I've got my capacitor right here in line, and adding a capacitor to the line on an end-fed half wave that you can't just change the length of on the fly like you can with the SignalSpool. On a standard end-fed half wave, your bands, like 20 meters, 40 meters, 10 meters, they're all going to be pretty close to each other, but they're not going to be perfectly length to each other, where if it's tuned perfectly for 20 meters, a standard end-fed half wave is going to be a little bit low in the frequency, a little bit electrically long for it to work on 40 meters. Now you can adjust for this with tuning because it's usually not too bad. It's usually like around 2.0, but adding a capacitor gives the wire a bit more length to expand electrically. Now for the SignalSpool, all you got to do is just twist it up 3 turns and you're good to go. If you need to work on another band, just 3 turns, 4 turns will get you that difference you need. And you can mark that if you'd like with a Sharpie for your different environments. And the other thing about this being a single length antenna is that if you need to do this in a sloper position where it's going up and then down some, or up and over maybe, or maybe you're closer to the ground than you normally are, or higher up than you normally are, or there's a giant metal object next to your antenna that you just can't control, that's going to change the tuning of your antenna, and it's going to change what length it needs to be. And you can just adjust for that with a tuner, or by trying to shorten the antenna, or lengthen it. There's some ways to kind of do that, but in general it's not really an ideal scenario for a spooled up single length antenna like this. It's going to be a bit of a pain in the butt, and that's really where the SignalSpool shines, is that you can adjust it for any environment really rapidly and just make it work. So we're almost done here. I've got the end of my wire. These last few turns I'm going to do it the quick way and clip it on there, and as you can see, we've got this guy all packed up and ready for storage. I don't actually have a good point to clip it, but there we go. And that is good to go. That's how long it takes to do it the right way, the kind of correct way. And now here's the really exciting part. We're going to be breaking this down and spooling it up. Now, this is where this really shines, and how quick it is that you can just wind it up, and it's going to do it the right way. It's going to spool it up just like a wheel. It's going to be easy. It's going to be quick, and it's ready to just be stored away without worrying about unspooling itself inside your bag. So let's do that. We're going to let down this end first. So just like on the other one, I'm not going to include the untying of the knot in the timer. Let's let this part down, and I'm just going to tie it off to this point right here where I know it's going to have enough length to reach the bottom here. Just like I did on the other one. Get this lined up here. Now that that part's loosened, we're going to grab this wire and we're just going to pull it down. All right. Looks like it's not getting cut up. Now what I can do is I can save the rest. I'll just leave that up there because I know it has enough length to come down. We're going to untie our guy right here, which I forgot to do before starting the timer. That's okay. I think we got some leg room, so I'm just going to leave it in. And now we're going to just start spooling it up. I got to unclip it first. That would help as well. We're going to start spooling this guy up. I'm just going to wind. Now as we're winding, it's spinning like a wheel, collecting it all inside. All right, let's keep on pulling it down. We're going to keep on spooling it up. This spool is strong enough I can pull it down with the winder, and it is just okay. And there we go. That's the end of the antenna right there. I'm done. I'm going to unclip it and leave this dangling right here. And just like that, it is winded up and ready to be packed away. Super quick, super easy, always spools up the right way. So that is the SignalSpool. I'm a family man now, and what that means, among other things, is that I have less time to work on ham radio stuff. And that's not a bad thing. That means I have my time being spent on a bunch of other amazing things. I know we always try and make those jokes of how there's the old ball and chain at home, but I'm actually very grateful for my family, and I enjoy that time. But what that does mean is I have to be more considerate about how I'm spending my time doing the ham radio hobby. Every choice I can make to spend less time setting up the radio stuff and more time actually doing the radio means a lot to me.
because that means that I can spend more time actually doing what I love instead of taking time away from those who I love. So that's part of what motivated me to try and think about ways that I can save some time and have a good, reliable, easy-to-use setup that's not going to be frustrating. There's nothing more frustrating to me than getting to a radio site with only an hour to work and finding I have to spend half of that time untangling my wires, or driving all the way out to a remote location only to find that my antenna just will not work in this space. I can't find a way to make it fit, to make it work without spending way too much time. So the SignalSpool was really an answer for me. I found some designs online that were similar, and I decided to try and make it good. And then I realized just that I thought this was a great product, so I wanted to sell it. So this is normally the part in the video where I give my honest, unbiased review. It's not unbiased, but it is honest. I think that the SignalSpool is worth it. I'm trying to price it very competitively, even though it is a bit of work on our end. So we're taking this on, and we're hoping that you guys will like it as well. So SignalSpool is available for sale right now. It's over at the bottom in the description down there. It is currently kind of in the backing stage. So if you're interested, please check one out. Would love to hear your feedback and would love to know what we can improve further. But also leave a comment down below. What do you think of the SignalSpool? What problems does it solve for you? How's the price for you? That type of thing. Would love to hear from you guys down below. Would love to have a discussion. I do read all of the comments on my videos and try to respond to what I can. So thank you so much for watching. As always, 7-3 from Lucas W1BTR. We'll be clear.
3 Foxtrot Baker Radio. Whiskey Baker 3 Foxtrot Baker Radio. Over.
Whiskey Baker 3 Foxtrot Baker Radio. Got you 59 here into southern New Hampshire. Copy?
Roger, roger. The name here is Wayne. Whiskey Alpha Yankee November Echo. And the QTH is Davidsville, Pennsylvania. Southwestern part of the state of Pennsylvania. And you are my first contact on my new radio. Well, it's new you. It's an Icon 738. And we were just tuning it up here around the bands, and it seems like it's transmitting. So, we'll turn it back to you. I didn't get your call. This is Whiskey Baker 3, Foxtrot, the Baker Radio. Over.
Copy, Wayne. Thank you very much for the contact from Pennsylvania. The call here is Whiskey 1 Bravo Tango Radio. That's W1BTR over here in southern New Hampshire. And yeah, you're sounding great in this new radio. It's always fun getting something new. You're sounding very good, clean signal, good audio. I'm talking to you on an ICOM 7300 with a antenna I designed called a SignalSpool, which I'm doing a video on. So hopefully I'm coming through good to you as well.
Roger, roger. W1BTR, WB3FBR, yeah. Nice 5x9 signal here in the southwestern PA.
Oop. Untied. Don't leave me, buddy. Don't leave me. I need you for more videos. Yeah, okay, I got it. Oh. Unclip this to here, and it's just gonna unspool. Ouch.